the roles we have. First, we'll understand, from the navigations. Okay. Anything with regards to the roles can be done only if we have a role called IT security manager. So if once you get this, access to this role, IT security manager, then you will get access to security console. If I just go to navigator and then under tools, you will see this security console. So the access to the security console, you can able to get it at only with this, if you have this IT security manager. That the first question normally people ask us, Harish, like if we wanted to access this, then we need this role. Then who will provide us this role? So that would be the first question, normally people ask. So what happens is when Oracle, creates the instance, when all the basic setups, configurations, Oracle will do that, and then Oracle will create a user account for the admin side from the customer. Okay? So from the customer side, there will be an ERP manager or some, spot, right? So they will create a user account for them, and then they will have like, a IT security role added to that particular user. Okay. And then that customers Spock, right? What they do is, they will create, another roles for us. Okay, they will create user accounts for us. And then, once they create the user account, what they do is they'll just add only this IT security role to our user accounts, and then they'll give us, access to the application. Once we have the, the IT security manager role, right? We'll have access to security console. And from there, we can, add roles to our user accounts, start creating custom roles and everything. So once I go to the security console, you will see rules, users, okay, and then you will see a lot of other options. Analysis, certificates, user category, single sign-on, API authentication, administration. Let's not worry about any of this for now. These are like very very advanced ones. So let's not worry about it. And I would suggest not to go and explore anything on this for now. At least once you have good, very strong control on the securities, the roles, everything, then you can just explore these options. If not, it's better to avoid these areas. Okay? So first we have rules and users. We'll start with users. So once you go to the user accounts, users, this is where you can able to search for the users, and this is the place where you can able to add a user account. Once you click on the user account, you can just give the first name, last name, email ID, username, password, and then you can add the roles. And once you click on save and close, this particular user account is now created. And then based on the system's the notification settings, the user may or may not get an email. And then if you wanted to search for any user, you can able to search for the user here like this. And then once you click on the user account, you can see what all the different roles which has been assigned to this user. And then you can see the usernames and the basic employment assignment, worker informations, all those details you can able to see. And in order to if you wanted to log in as this user, you need to know the username and password, right? So you can just click on the reset password. Okay, you can do this reset passwords only in your testing instance days. Okay, so only in your testing or in the demo instance you can able to do. But when it comes to the real time, let's say you are working, you have you are on production. Okay, you are on production, and then you have access to IT security. Okay? In productions, we are not supposed to reset the passwords. It has to be done only by the employee themselves. Okay? We are not supposed to reset the passwords, and we are not supposed to log in as this user without the permission of the particular user. Even if the user permits, then we are not supposed to click on the reset password. We can just offline get the username password from the user, and we can just log in. So resetting the password of the users in production is a very serious crime. I have seen a lot of people getting terminated on the spot for doing so. So be very cautious when it comes to your production instance. Even in the testing instance, it is always advisable to get a sync up with your customers before you do any such activities. And then if you wanted to add some rules or remove some rules, you can just click on the edit button, and then you can able to do so. So sometimes what happens is when these users, right, when they try to log in, if they enter multiple, incorrect password, then what happens is the user account, right, gets moved to lock status. Okay? It will become locked. Okay? Automatically, it will become locked. It's like, continuously 10 or 11, incorrect passwords, it will get locked automatically. So in such case, we can just come here, click edit on the user account, just select active, uncheck locked button, and then just click on save and close so that, the user can able to start, login back. So these are the different options. And when I click on actions button, you will see lock, reset, delete, compare user, and copy user. So copy user is if you want to create a copy of this party user with all the roles which is associated to it, you can just click on copy user. Once you click on copy user, you will see all the roles are added automatically. So that is how you can able to do it. So now let us go to the roles. Once you go to the roles, you can able to search for the roles here. Okay? So here, if I just click on, the drop down values in the search by parameter, right? You see job role, duty role, abstract role, other rules, privileges, aggregate privileges. So if I wanted to see only the abstract rules, you can just search once. I can enter some value. What I'll do is I'll just put ORA. You will see all the abstract rules which is there in the application. You see there are total 58 abstract rules. Okay? But if you remember in the Word file, we saw only 3 abstract roles, right? So that's why I said, like, there are a lot of abstract roles, but when it comes to, when it comes to HCM, we have, like, 3 abstract roles. If you see, these are all, like, the procurement ones. So let's start with, the employee. Now, so here, when I try to search for employee, right, you will see, lot of, employee roles, right? But this is the seeded one. How do I say this is the seeded one? Because it start, the rule code, it starts with ORA. But here, if you see, you have PER, PER, that these are all like, if you ask me, these are all like, are this, the job rules or the custom abstract rules? This could be, these are like, the custom abstract rules. Okay. But here, there is one catch which you guys need to be aware about. If you see this rule, right? PER underscore employee underscore abstract. This is an seeded abstract version. But you might immediately ask me, Harish, you said all the seeded rules starts with ORE. So what happens is currently the Oracle Fusion writing, we are currently on release 2, release 13. Okay. And then we have before release 13, we have release 12. Right, obviously that would be a release 12 version, right? It was that till 2011, 12 times, we have moved to release 13. These are the rules which are created, as part of the release 12 versions. Okay? So that's where you get to see, two, different abstract seeded rules. Okay? If I just search for line manager. Again, here, if you see, we have two different, seeded line manager roles, abstract roles. Okay? One starts with ORA and then one starts with PER. Okay? So what is the difference between, these two options? As I said, like, the one which starts with PER, like, this is an, this is an seeded role which is created in R12 versions, which is not available in your latest instance. Like, if your customers have procured a license post 2013 or 14, right? Or like, post 2016, 17, they should not able to see this, PER. So basically, the release 13 versions, if they have procured the license and release 13, then you will not see this, PER line manager. All you will see is, the one with the ORA line manager. And but what happens if we use this, by mistake is that, this is an, rule which is created for our 12 version. Okay. Whenever there is a new update, new functionality being added to the respective stakeholders, right, then those privileges will be added automatically to the ORE abstract roles. It will not be added to the PER ones. Okay. That is the major challenge, we will have. Let's say, for example, if you take human resource specialist. Okay. So if you just take human resource specialist, right, again, you will see this, peer and then warrior. Okay. So what happens is the number of privileges, or the duty roles, aggregate privileges in this warrior role, right? Let's assume there are 1,000. Okay. But if you take this role which starts with PR, right, you may see only, 500 or 600, even less, because all the latest functionalities will be available only on this, warrior underscore roles, not on the PR ones. And then if you're starting a new project with a fresh instance, then you will not have this confusions. If in case if you're going into some support projects where the customers have been using application for like 7, 8 years or more, then you will start seeing this kind of rules here. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll start with the recruiter. And now, if you notice for recruiter role, right, you will see only one seeded role, job role, which starts with ORA underscore IRC. And then you will not see, PR underscore IRC. The reason is because this recruiting module was, released only in R13 version. It is not there in the release 12 versions. Okay? So as I said, at the beginning of the sessions, recruiting module was, released on mid of 2018. Okay? So it started, when ORC module came out, it started with 18C version. Okay? So now we have this particular seeded recruiter role. Okay? So this is the job role. So in order to create our own custom roles, what we do is we can just duplicate it. Okay? We can just take a copy of the seeded role and then we can create our own custom role. Okay? So when I just click on this actions, you see edit role, copy role, compare role, simulate navigator. So if you wanted to edit the role, you can just click on edit. Since it's a seeded role, what we'll do is we'll just take a copy of it. Once you click on the copy button, you will see these two options. Copy top role and copy top role and inherited roles. So what is the differences? Let's just go back to my work. So when as I said, like, when you copy, when you click on copy, you will see copy top row and then copy top role and inherited roles. So each and every role will have like, different aggregate privileges, duty roles, different kind of duty roles. So when you click on copy top role, or only the top role would be copied and then all the aggregate privileges, like, the subcategories which is added in the role, right? That will still be referred to the old one. It will, we will just create a reference of it. Yeah, that would be created in the new role. But if you just use this option, copy top role and inherited role, then what happens is each and everything, except your aggregate privilege, it would be linked with the existing one. But your duty roles, right? Everything would be created as a copy. And ideally, as a best practice, we would not recommend using this option. One of the biggest challenge we have in using this option is, let's say tomorrow Oracle is bringing up some new functionalities for the recruiter role. Okay? And then those new functionalities, right, those are added as a duty role. What Oracle does is they will not, add these privileges to your custom roles. Remember, guys, this is a very basic thumb rule. Whenever Oracle is bringing up some new functionalities, and then for those new functionalities, there could be certain privileges, job roles, and required. Okay? So that could be some privileges, duty roles, and all. Each and every functionality comes with its own privileges. Okay, so those privileges and duty roles would be added only to the seeded role. It would not be added to a custom role because Oracle does not know, like, which custom role is referred, taken as a copy from the seeded roles. So that's why what Oracle does, they will, put all those privileges in the aggregate roles and the job roles. So that is one of the main reason why we don't recommend using this copy top role and the inherited roles, because when you use this option, your duty roles, everything would be created, copy would be created, and then there would be no reference to your seeded, duty roles. So whenever there is a new change, new privileges added to your duty roles, right, then that will not be added to your custom roles. For example, right, let's take, Redwood. So as part of 24B, Oracle is bringing the Redwood pages to the recruiting module. So in order for the recruiters to access Redwood pages, you need, few duty roles. And then these duty rules are, by it is added as a default to the recruiting rules, but not to the, but these are not added to the job role. I mean, your custom roles. Okay? So if you take, a copy of all your duty roles, and then if you create a separate role, then you have to manually go and, find those duty roles and add them into your custom roles. These are the challenges which we will face when it comes to, using the second option of, inheriting the roles. So we are always use, the copy top role. Once you click on copy, we'll be landing on this particular page. So here the prefix is added automatically. What I'll do is I'll just change it back to And then in the role code, what I'll do is I'll just add ORE underscore. You see, the moment I add ORE, it says, a role code can have prefix ORE because it is reserved for the predefined data. So that means you cannot have any roles, custom roles starting with ORE. Okay? So now we have just entered the name and the role code to it. And then we have a description. If you wanted to do a description of it, you can able to do. And then if you notice, we have different, sections here. And then this particular tab, right, we call it as rail stops. Normally when you go and speak with, some people who are there in the fusion for a long time, right, and then when they come to the screen, they say like, go to the fifth stop, sixth stop. And then you might be wondering what are they talking about? So they are referring to, when they say fifth spot, it's like, go to the role hierarchy. Because the reason why we call it as rail stops is, it looks like a railway track with the stations as the numbers. So this is what the info about the top section. Okay. So once I go to the next section, which is the functional security policies, here you can able to see different kind of security policies. So this is where we will modify the details. Okay. So let's say, for example, you can just enable this query by keyword. What I'll do is initiate. So we have a privilege name called initiate job offer. And then if you don't want, this recruiter to, initiate job offers, then you can just simply click on the delete button. Okay. And then you are just remove the particular privilege from this recruiter role. So any users with this recruiter role, they cannot able to initiate job offers. And then let's say I don't want to, I don't want the recruiters to, initiate requisitions, except using positions. So then what I'll do is I'll just remove this one. So now they can initiate a requisition, only using position, or they can initiate in pipeline job requisition. These are the two options. So this is how we can able to delete the privileges from the roles. So if you wanted to add something, then you can just click on add functional, and then here you can able to uh, add it. For example, we have a privilege called manage postings. So once you search for any privileges, right, any functional security policies or privileges, you will get an you will get to see a description. So what this this task manage questions that gives to this user is they can able to access the questions task. If you remember the place where we create pre-screening, disqualification, and interview questions. Right? So if we add this to this row, then any user with the recruiter role, right, they will have access to create questions. These are not available as a serial, but this is how we can able to add this. And similarly, you can just work around, you can just see what are the different privileges, and you'll see the description of each and every privilege name. Next, you have data security policies. Let's not worry about the data security policies for now. We'll see that little later. Next, we have role hierarchy. These are again, another set of privileges we have. So if you see all these are like created a copy we're using these are like inherited by the role name. What do we mean by inherited? Yes. So, yeah. Okay. So we have something called as role inheritance. So basically, there are some duty roles which should be inherited in some job roles. Okay. For example, let's take, if we are creating an HR specialist as a job role. Okay. There'll be a lot of, privileges, aggregate privileges and duty roles, which would inherit this particular job role. That is why when you go here, you will see inherited by role name, you will see this recruiter role which we have created. Okay. So these are all like, the different roles which we have, which would inherit this particular custom role which we are creating. You can also add different roles here. For example, um, use- let me just delete this particular. Let's see if I wanted to delete a job requisition. And if you want the recruiter to delete the job requisition, we can just add or remove accordingly. And then once you come the next screen, segregation of duties, you can just skip this one, I guess, because this page has been completely disabled in production. I mean, sorry, in the actual instance, you will see that only in the demo instance. And the next tab we have is the users. Okay. So you can directly assign this role to the users, when you're creating or editing the roles. Okay. You can just click on add users, and then here you can search for the username. Let's say I search with someone named Mark. Similarly, you can just keep adding, all the users here. And then if the customer say, if you have a requirement where you have to, add bulk amount of, users to enroll, then, the best option to do that is using an HDL. We have a separate HDL for that as well. And then the last section is the summary section. In the summary section, you will see, list of, privileges which has been, added and removed against each of the section. Okay. So for example, in the functional security policies, if you notice, like, we have added one privilege, which is the managed questions. And then we have removed all these privileges. All these privileges has been, removed. And then if I come to the users, you will also see the changes here. If you see something with plus, that means, it is added. And then if you see something as X, then that means these are removed. Once it is done, you will just click on submit and close. Once you click on submit and close, your role gets generated. And here you see something like, a process was submitted, check the status on the administration tab, right? If I just go to the administration tab and then you see this role status, here you can see what is the status of the role. Okay? Whether, if you're creating it or copying, making some changes to it. So whenever you make some changes, this, there is a process which, which is triggered automatically. Let's assume that, now that, we are creating a new role. Okay. Let's say we have a role. Okay. And then we are making some changes to it. Okay. And then imagine that role is, that role is assigned to some thousands of employees. Then, for all those employees, this changes should be reflected, right? Let's say for an employee role, you remove the access to absence. Then, the employee should not able to see absence. So based on the intensity of the changes, based on the volume of the users, the processing time may take accordingly. So now you see the status is completed. Okay. Now we also assign this role to two different users. Now we have just created a job role. We have just took a copy of the seeded job role, and then we created our own custom job role. If in case if you wanted to create roles from scratch, you can able to click on the create role, and then in the role category you will see all the modules here. For HCM, you just come to HCM, which starts with HCM. You see abstract role, duty role, and job role. But ideally, in real-time team, we will not be using, will not be creating a, from scratch role, because that would be very tedious one. Okay? Because for, each and every actions, there'll be a lot of, duty roles, aggregate privileges, and then a lot of things has to be done. If even if you miss to add one REST service privilege, related privilege, right, then your application may not work properly. So that's why we normally don't create from scratch roles. Maybe for some advanced setups, right, to use for the approvals or for some EL expressions or for some customizations, then we will create some custom job roles. So this is how we can able to create a job role. Now, once a job role is created, what is the next step? We have to assign the data security to the job role. Because without data security, the user with the job role cannot able to access nothing. Right? Maybe what I'll do is let us just quickly log in as that user. So far, any doubts or questions, Tim? I know this would be very, confusing topics in the beginning. Trust me, guys, it would definitely take some time for us to understand, what is this all about. Because for me, it took me solid, like, close to 8 months to a year to understand, what are the different kind of roles and how to modify it. This is some supply contract. Just takes some other info. Okay. So if I just come to this user, right, this user has, a lot of, rules here. I wanted to remove all these rules. Then what we'll do is you click on remove all rules, and then all the rules will be removed. And then I'll just add the recruiter role which we have created, and then I'll just add, the employer role as well. I'll just add the rules. Let me reset the password. And then when it comes to the password, right, team, I would strongly suggest, like, you guys create your own password style. Some people they put, like, welcome at the rate 123. Some people they put, fusion at the rate 123, things like that. But you can just create your own style so that, whenever you go right, it would be easy. So now I'll just reset the password. Let me just open it incognito. Just a moment. And then once you search for the role here, right, you will also see some options here. Expand towards, right? Currently it is showing us, privileges, and then it is currently showing rules. And if you want to, see the privileges, you can able to see it here. And you have an option to export to Excel. And if you just change the expand towards to users, then you can just change it to users. Here you can see who are the different users who has been assigned this role. Now let me just enter the password. So once I log in as my Grace, If since the employer, this user as the employer role, they can able to see the me tab. Okay, let's not worry about all the other tabs. But if I go to my client group, you will able to see only the hiring. Once I go inside the hiring, he cannot even able to go inside the hiring tab because he does not have any privileges. Okay? So this is just a pure data role, and he cannot able to access anything here. So what we'll do is we will create data role. So in order to create a data role, you can just go to my client group. Under my client group, go to workflow structures, and then under workflow structures, if you just scroll down, you will see the data role and security profiles. Before that, let us try to understand the data role and security profiles.